In the quiet town of Crescent Bay, a mechanic named Anderson stumbles upon an injured alien named Mia after a mysterious spacecraft crashes nearby. As Anderson helps Mia, their bond grows, exposing them to heart-pounding suspense and jaw-dropping revelations. Their fate intertwines, sparking a journey that challenges their worlds. In the face of cosmic dilemmas, what would you choose? If you want to dive into real stories of parallel realities every day, in enigmatic, technological worlds that are completely different from our planet, subscribe to our channel and leave your like. Well, let's go. In the quaint town of Crescent Bay, life moved at a pace that matched the gentle ebb and flow of the ocean waves lapping against its shore. Crescent Bay was a picturesque enclave, where Victorian houses lined cobblestone streets, and the air carried a perpetual scent of sea salt mixed with pine. Its beauty, however, belied the monotony that filled the days of its residents, a monotony most acutely felt by Anderson Thornton, a man whose skills were wasted in an all-too-ordinary setting. Anderson Thornton, a 34-year-old mechanic, was known throughout the town for his exceptional talent with engines. He stood tall and robust, his face etched with the lines of fatigue that come from years of labor. His hands, calloused and stained with motor oil, moved with a precision that spoke of both confidence and experience. Anderson had deep-set blue eyes that seemed to hold a perpetual longing, a yearning for something beyond the confines of Crescent Bay. His workshop was a cluttered haven of tools and grease-smeared manuals, lit by the warm, inviting glow of old Edison bulbs. The walls, adorned with vintage car posters and blueprints of disassembled engines, bore witness to countless hours spent in solitude, dreaming of distant worlds and grand adventures. Yet, for all his dreams, Anderson's life ticked by in a monotonous symphony of clinking wrenches and revving engines. Each day started with the dawn breaking over the tranquil bay, and ended well past dusk, the town washed in the amber hues of gas street lamps. His clients, townsfolk with their practical vehicles, came and went, bringing with them the same predictable problems that Anderson could solve in his sleep. It wasn't dissatisfaction that marked his existence but rather an insidious sense of incompleteness, a gnawing ambition for a more extraordinary purpose. The routine was stifling, a drab existence punctuated by fleeting moments of joy when Anderson allowed himself to delve into sci-fi novels or tinker with his self-made gadgets. He longed to escape the predictable comfort of Crescent Bay, even if just for a fleeting moment, to touch the stars and embrace the unknown. Little did he know, his unspoken wishes were about to manifest in ways he couldn't have fathomed. One particular evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an orange glow across the waters, Anderson felt an unusual restlessness. The air was thicker, the silence of the town almost oppressive. He wandered out of his workshop, pockets heavy with the residue of a day's labor, and looked up at the sky. The stars seemed to twinkle with an unusual luminosity, as if whispering secrets of the universe. In that silent reverie, a brilliant flash of light erupted across the sky. It was not the usual, tranquil arc of a shooting star, but a dazzling, searing stream of light that tore through the firmament. Time seemed to freeze as the luminous streak drove towards the earth, its trajectory aimed unmistakably at the forested outskirts of Crescent Bay. The light was almost blinding in its intensity, and just as suddenly as it appeared, it vanished behind the veil of the woods with an eerie silence, replaced by a soft, yet palpable hum that seemed to resonate deep within Anderson's chest. Compelled by an insatiable curiosity that simmered just below the surface of his everyday veneer, Anderson felt an irresistible pull towards the source of the disturbance. His feet moved almost of their own accord, carrying him away from the safety and predictability of his workshop and into the shadowy embrace of the forest. Crescent Bay might have been small and routine, but the ancient woods that bordered it held an aura of mystery and timelessness, different from his familiar world of mechanics and metal. The trek through the underbrush was anything but easy. The forest, bathed in the silver glow of the moon, seemed alive with nocturnal whispers. Twigs snapped underfoot, and the occasional rustle hinted at hidden eyes watching his progress. Anderson's breath came in measured puffs, more from anticipation than effort. With each step closer to his destination, the hum he had felt earlier grew slightly stronger, as if guiding him onwards. Upon reaching a secluded glade, Anderson froze. There, nestled among the tall grass and shimmering under the celestial lights, was an object unlike anything he had ever encountered. It was a spacecraft, unmistakable in its otherworldly elegance. Crescent-shaped and sleek, its surface gleamed with a metallic iridescence that seemed to pulse with its own light. The vessel bore the scars of a rough landing, branches snapped and foliage singed, yet it emitted an aura of tranquil majesty. For a moment, he stood transfixed, the realization of what he was witnessing sinking in. This was not a relic of human craftsmanship, it was something far more advanced and alien. His breath caught in his throat and a mix of fear and exhilaration battled within him. The hum he had felt earlier now resonated through the air, emanating from the vessel's core. Summoning his courage, Anderson approached the spacecraft. As he circled it, he became aware of a faint, rhythmic sound coming from within, like the labored breathing of an injured creature. It tugged at his mechanic's instincts, and without fully considering the consequences, he began searching for an entrance. His fingers brushed against a sleek control panel, and to his surprise, it responded to his touch, hissing open a hatch with an airlock-like gasp. Inside the vessel, bathed in a soft, ethereal glow, he found Mia. Mia was unlike anything Anderson had ever seen. Her form, while humanoid in structure, was enveloped in a luminescent aura that seemed to shimmer like the surface of a tranquil sea. Her skin was a pale, almost opalescent blue, with intricate, glowing patterns that wove across her limbs in delicate filigree. She had large, expressive eyes of a deep, cosmic violet, filled with intelligence and profound sadness. Her face, delicate yet strong, bore an otherworldly beauty that was both enchanting and humbling. Despite her ethereal appearance, it was evident that Mia was gravely injured. Her breathing was shallow, and her movements sluggish. A pool of silvery fluid, not unlike blood, shimmered faintly around her. She looked up at Anderson, her eyes reflecting both immense pain and a silent plea for help. At that moment, the familiarity of all his days spent repairing the broken and malfunctioning back in his workshop melded with the unimaginable reality that lay before him. His shock quickly surrendered to a resolute determination. Here was a being in desperate need, and his skills, mundane as they might be in Crescent Bay, were suddenly indispensable. Anderson's mechanical expertise, honed through years of meticulous work, found a new purpose. He set to work, not entirely understanding the complexity of the alien technology but following an intuitive guide, years of fixing unconsciously guiding his hands. Gingerly but efficiently, Anderson worked to stabilize Mia, using the tools at his disposal. The humble town of Crescent Bay basked in its usual serenity. In this quaint settlement, where each nightfall ushered in an orchestration of crickets and the occasional hooting of an owl, the residents found comfort in predictability. This night, however, something extraordinary disrupted the flow of their routine tranquility. A streak of blinding light painted the sky in hues of stark white and violet, a phenomenon so jarring that even the most indifferent of Crescent Bay's inhabitants found themselves roused from their slumber. The light descended with an almost otherworldly elegance, eventually hurtling towards the dense forest skirting the town before disappearing into the trees with a sound more akin to a whisper than an explosion. Anderson Thornton, a talented mechanic with dreams of adventures beyond the horizon, was not immune to this cosmic interruption. Perennially coated in a film of motor oil, Anderson's nights were usually dedicated to tinkering with engines in his crusty workshop. However, tonight, The unusual blaze in the heavens stirred something deep within him, an insatiable curiosity that had long been dormant under layers of grease and routine. Equipped with only a flashlight and his innate sense of curiosity, Anderson ventured into the forest. The path was cloaked in shadow, each step fraught with the quiet rustle of leaves and the occasional snap of a twig. When he stumbled upon the crash site, all breath left his lungs in a single exhalation of awe. Nestled within a clearing, the spaceship lay. It was crescent-shaped, its sleek, silver surface marred by gashes and emitting a faint luminescent glow under the moonlight. His heart thundered in his chest as he stepped closer. Each detail of the craft seemed to defy the laws of terrestrial engineering. The craftsmanship was unlike anything he'd ever seen. It was simultaneously delicate and robust, with a mysterious interplay of materials that shimmered under the glow of his flashlight. Without warning, the foliage around him rustled as a figure emerged from the wreckage, Mia. Mia was unlike any being Anderson had ever encountered. Her skin emitted a soft luminescence, akin to the light reflecting off the sea at twilight. She was humanoid yet distinctly different, her features elongated and elegant with eyes that shimmered like distant galaxies. Her limbs were slender and graceful, testimony to an advanced civilization that had long transcended the crude necessities of human strength and endurance. Despite her otherworldly beauty, Mia was gravely injured. Anderson's initial shock quickly gave way to an overwhelming urge to help. He approached with caution, his instincts as a mechanic guiding him. The sheer awe of encountering an alien being was momentarily overshadowed by his need to offer aid. Anderson kneeled beside Mia, assessing her injuries. There was an unexplained familiarity to the tools she used, an intergalactic echo of the instruments he manipulated daily. He applied pressure on a deep wound on her arm, noting the almost ethereal quality of her blood, which shimmered a pale blue under his flashlight. With painstaking care, Anderson helped Mia to her feet and guided her to the spacecraft's entrance. Inside, the ship was a marvel of alien engineering. The cockpit was filled with an array of holographic displays, touch-sensitive panels, and an indescribable hum of energy. Despite its advanced design, it bore the marks of the crash, flickering screens, sparking wires, and the unmistakable scent of burnt circuitry. Here, amid the debris and half-lit displays, Anderson began to repair not just the ship but also Mia. Hours melted away unnoticed as the two worked in unison. Anderson's adept hands manipulated alien technology with surprisingly little difficulty, his mechanical expertise finding a curious partner in the advanced systems of the spacecraft. He fabricated makeshift bandages for Mia's wounds using remnants of the ship's material, their iridescent fabric shimmering against her skin. Each step they took in mending the vessel was mirrored by Mia's gradual recovery. Intrigued by her plight and the technology at hand, Anderson couldn't help but absorb the stories Mia silently relayed through gestures and expressions. Here was a tale of cosmic wanderlust, Mia's journey from a distant star to the very forest he walked every day. This richness of her experiences painted vibrant images in Anderson's mind. Star systems pulsating with life, advanced civilizations flourishing with technologies beyond his wildest dreams, and cultures steeped in history and mystique. The forest seemed to hold its breath around them. Each passing night found Anderson sneaking out of Crescent Bay, heading towards their secret haven where he dedicated every ounce of his ingenuity to the spacecraft's repair. By day, he maintained his guise as the town's dependable mechanic, but by night, he was an interstellar handyman, mending a vessel that defied the very principles of human engineering. Mia's recovery was slow but steady. She began to trust Anderson, their bond solidifying through shared silence and mutual understanding. While she lay recuperating, Anderson often found himself lost in the holographic displays showing star maps and alien landscapes. One evening, as he worked on a particularly difficult section of the ship's engine, Mia moved closer and with a display of holographic imagery, tried to communicate her gratitude. There was no verbal language shared between them, yet the communication was crystal clear. Anderson learned of Mia's culture through these holographic visions, an amalgam of art, history, and technology interwoven with an elegance that put human civilization to shame. Her people valued harmony with the universe, working in symbiosis with the cosmic environment around them. This revelation filled Anderson's heart with both wonder and a pang of humility. Despite her injuries, Mia insisted on helping with the spacecraft's repairs. Her delicate, glowing fingers danced over control panels, demonstrating the duality of fragility and incredible strength. She demonstrated advanced techniques to Anderson, teaching him how to use her world's tools, which seemed to operate on principles as alien as their owner. Yet, under Mia's patient instruction, they became as familiar to Anderson as a wrench or a screwdriver. Night after night, they wrestled with the complexity of the damaged communicator. The device was the only link Mia had to her home world, a connection severed by the crash. Together, they immersed themselves in deciphering its advanced schematics. The communicator was an intricate, multifaceted artifact, a nexus of quantum entanglement and zero-point energy, entwined with an elegance that left Anderson in awe. With each repair step, they delved deeper into the sophistication of Mia's technology, a fusion of form and function that reflected the artistic sensibility of her species. The surrounding forest, usually so silent, now seemed a living entity, cradling their efforts under its canopy. Beneath the dense foliage, the forest became a sanctuary for Mia and Anderson, a place where their bond transcended words and their mission, a testament to interspecies compassion. In the quiet moments between repairs, Anderson couldn't help but reflect on the ethical implications of their situation. Anderson Thornton's nights had taken on a surreal quality. His once ordinary life seemed like a distant memory, as he now found himself keeping vigil by the shimmering, crescent-shaped spacecraft nestled under the canopy of the forest. Faint beams of moonlight filtered through the leaves, casting ethereal patterns on the craft's sleek metal surface. Mia, the alien he had discovered in the wreckage, lay inside, her luminescent form a stark contrast against the human-made tools and spare parts scattered around her. In the days following their fateful encounter, Anderson and Mia began to transcend the barrier of species, crafting a shared language of gestures, expressions, and rudimentary words. Anderson, with his mechanic's intuition, had managed to stabilize Mia's injuries using makeshift medical supplies, but it was clear that they needed something more advanced. As he worked tirelessly on repairing the spacecraft and the shattered communicator, Mia contributed in ways that left him in awe of her alien intellect. Mia's presence brought with it an air of enigmatic allure. Her eyes, large and expressive, hinted at the depth of knowledge and experience from far-off galaxies. Her skin, covered in faint, iridescent scales, caught the light in ways that made her appear otherworldly. Despite her alien physiology, Anderson found solace in the moments of quiet understanding that passed between them. Mia's tales of distant stars and advanced civilizations painted a vivid tapestry in Anderson's mind. She spoke of Zaltor, her home planet, where bioluminescent creatures roamed under vibrant, kaleidoscopic skies. Advanced technologies interwove seamlessly with nature, creating a harmonious existence that sounded like a utopia. Mia's voice, though alien in tone, carried an unassuming wisdom that resonated deeply with Anderson. Each story she shared was like a window into another world, expanding his understanding of the universe and his place within it. Mia revealed that her people had long studied humanity from afar, fascinated by their resilience and adaptability in the face of adversity. Her fascination with human culture only deepened as she witnessed Anderson's tenacity and kindness firsthand. Anderson, Indiana turned, found himself captivated by Mia's descriptions of interstellar travel, biological enhancements, and the complex, ethical dilemmas faced by advanced civilizations. One night, as they sat by the flickering fire, Mia projected a holographic image from a small device she had managed to salvage from the wreckage. The image was of her family, her parents and younger sibling, their forms adorned with intricate patterns that signified their place in Zaltorian society. Anderson felt a pang of empathy as Mia's eyes softened with longing. It was a poignant reminder of the vast distance between her and everything she held dear. Under the starlit sky, Anderson and Mia tackled the arduous task of repairing the spacecraft. The work was grueling, each component a puzzle piece that had to be meticulously aligned for the ship to function. Mia's advanced knowledge of engineering proved invaluable, but it was Anderson's grounded, hands-on expertise that turned theory into practice. Through their combined efforts, they managed to rebuild the damaged sections, their bond strengthening with each completed task. However, the communicator posed a greater challenge. The delicate network of circuits and emitters required a level of precision that tested Anderson's skills to their limit. Mia guided him through the complex schematics, their heads often bent together in concentration. The hours stretched into days as they toiled side by side, driven by the hope that the repaired communicator would bring salvation. As the second week drew to a close, a breakthrough occurred. Anderson managed to establish a faint signal. Their joy was palpable, but it was quickly tempered by the realization that the signal strength was insufficient to reach Zaltor. Anderson pondered the vastness of space and the enormity of their task, knowing that they were running out of time. Mia's condition, though stable, was deteriorating, and the clock was ticking. In the midst of their efforts, Anderson grappled with ethical dilemmas that gnawed at the edges of his conscience. The encounter with Mia had upended his understanding of humanity's place in the universe. What responsibilities did they owe to an alien race? How far should they go to aid one another? The realization that their actions might have far-reaching consequences for both species weighed heavily on him. Anderson found himself questioning the ethics of human experimentation and the potential for exploitation. Mia's stories of advanced civilizations came with warnings about the misuse of technology and the dangers of playing God. Anderson's mind was a whirlwind of possibilities and concerns, each one more complex than the last. The bond they shared became a crucible in which these ethical dilemmas were forged and tested. Despite the challenges, Anderson and Mia found moments of respite in simple pleasures. Mia's curiosity about Earth was insatiable, and Anderson took it upon himself to explain the intricacies of human culture. He showed her pictures of bustling cities, serene landscapes, and the simple beauty of a sunset over Crescent Bay. Mia's eyes sparkled with wonder, and her laughter, a melodic chime, filled the clearing. One evening, Anderson introduced Mia to music. He played a selection of songs on his worn-out record player, watching her reactions with bated breath. Each note seemed to resonate with her on a fundamental level, transcending language and culture. Mia's body shimmered with a soft, pulsating light as she absorbed the melodies, and Anderson realized that music was a universal language that bridged the gap between their worlds. As they moved between tasks, Anderson couldn't help but notice the way Mia adapted to her surroundings. Her movements became more fluid, and she began to mimic human gestures with an uncanny accuracy. It was as if she was absorbing everything around her, integrating it into her own experience. Anderson admired her resilience and adaptability, qualities that mirrored his own. The days blurred together, a whirlwind of activity interspersed with quiet moments of reflection. Anderson found himself questioning his own motivations. Was he helping Mia out of a sense of duty, or had their bond evolved into something deeper? The lines between alien and human began to blur, replaced by a shared sense of purpose and understanding. Just when it seemed as though hope was slipping through their fingers, a fateful night arrived. The signal from the communicator, though still weak, was beginning to stabilize. Mia worked tirelessly, her hands a blur as she adjusted the final connections. Anderson watched, his heart pounding in his chest. He knew that success was within their grasp, but the uncertainty of the outcome loomed over them like a shadow. A powerful burst of energy surged through the communicator, and the holographic display flickered to life. A face appeared, alien and familiar at the same time. A Zaltorian rescue team had received their distress signal. The emotions that surged through Anderson and Mia were a complex blend of relief, joy, and apprehension. Mia's eyes met Anderson's, filled with unspoken gratitude for the bond they had forged. The following days were a blur of preparation. The rescue ship was on its way, and there was much to be done. The ship's sleek metallic surface gleamed in the dim light, casting long shadows on the forest floor. The air was thick with tension, a palpable mixture of excitement and despair. Anderson stood on the edge of the clearing, his heart a wild drumbeat in his chest. Mia, with her luminescent glow dimmed by the strain and anticipation of departure, stood beside him. The quiet of Crescent Bay seemed a world away from the unfolding cosmic reality. The dawn was approaching, painting the skies with hues of purple and red. The dual contradictions of this otherworldly encounter, leaving a serene, familiar life for an unfathomable cosmic mystery, hung heavily in the air. The rescue ship loomed on the horizon, a colossal figure of intricate design, pulsating with energy that spoke of technologies far beyond human comprehension. As the rescue ship closed the distance, Mia moved closer to Anderson, her eyes, those profound orbs of shimmering blue, reflecting the enormity of the moment. There was so much to say, yet words felt inadequate. Their shared silence was louder than any conversation, laden with the weight of an unspoken bond that transcended worlds. The rescue ship landed with a soft hum, its gravitational field adjusting to the terrain, causing a faint ripple across the forest floor. The doors hissed open, revealing a team of extraterrestrial medics, garbed in elaborate, reflective uniforms that hinted at their advanced civilization. Anderson watched, rooted to the spot, as the team approached, their movements fluid and synchronous. One of the medics, a figure taller than the others with a dignified air, stepped forward. His skin was a deep obsidian, etched with bioluminescent patterns that shifted and changed like living constellations. A being of refined elegance and authority, he introduced himself telepathically, a gentle intrusion into Anderson's mind, conveying empathy and gratitude for his care and kindness towards Mia. The medic's name was Zafor. His aura radiated wisdom and authority, and his presence was commanding yet comforting. Zafor acknowledged Anderson's efforts to repair their vessel, expressing profound appreciation through conveyed emotions rather than verbal communication. Anderson felt an unfamiliar warmth spread through him, a reassurance that he had indeed made a significant difference. As Zafor communicated, a flurry of activity ensued. The medics began attending to Mia, who showed signs of relief at the sight of her kin. Anderson felt a pang of loss. The connection he and Mia shared had been a lifeline for both of them, soldiering through nights of mechanical tinkering and cultural exchanges. The inevitable parting was now at hand. The forest around them seemed to hold its breath. Anderson thought back to the countless hours spent with Mia, moments filled with shared wonder and collaboration. Mia's tales of her world, its towering spires made of crystallized light, the communal harmony, and their awe-inspiring technology, flashed through his mind. He recalled the first time he spoke of Earth's beauty to Mia, the vast oceans, sprawling forests, and the mosaic of human ingenuity. Their exchange was more than mere words. It was a symbiotic blend of two disparate beings finding common ground in their appreciation of the universe's wonders. Now, amidst the impending farewell, Anderson looked at Mia, trying to etch her presence into his memory. She stepped forward, imbued with a serenity that belied the turmoil within. Their eyes locked. Anderson's mind raced, seeking words that could capture what he felt, but the intensity of the moment swallowed any such attempt. Mia extended her hand. The touch of her skin, soft and comforting, evoked a cascade of emotions. Her voice, though musical to his ears, carried a gravity that was unmistakable. Your kindness has bridged worlds, Anderson. To you, I owe a debt that transcends time and space. Tears welled in Anderson's eyes. He had prepared himself for this moment, yet the finality stung deeper than he anticipated. He watched as Mia gave a nod to Zephyr, who responded with a gentle beam of light that scanned over her injuries, confirming that the mending was sufficient for the travel ahead. The other medics moved with synchronized precision, their instruments working seamlessly to stabilize Mia's condition. Anderson could see the intricate details of their devices, sleek, adaptable tools that seemed to respond to the mere thoughts of their operators. Every movement was a testament to their advanced knowledge, contrasting sharply with his rustic, mechanical tools back at his workshop. The dawn broke fully, casting long beams of light across the landscape. The interface systems of the rescue ship flickered to life, with holographic displays projecting intricate data streams around them. Anderson's eyes widened at the sheer complexity and elegance of the technology on display. Everything about the rescue ship was astonishingly intricate, yet streamlined in its function. The medics, having finished their assessments and preparations, signaled to Mia. It was time. Anderson's heart lurched as he faced the reality that their paths were diverging at this exact moment. Their bond had been a beacon of light through a transformative journey, one that was now drawing to a close. Zephyr approached Anderson one final time, conveying a sense of profound respect and acknowledgement. In a moment of shared understanding, he handed Anderson a small, crystalline device. It pulsed with a living light, a tangible connection between their worlds. Through their telepathic connection, Zephyr explained that it was a token of gratitude and a means to communicate should Anderson ever need to reach out. Anderson took the device, feeling the pulsating energy within it. It was more than just a piece of alien technology. It was a symbol of the bond forged between him and Mia, a reminder of the profound journey they'd undertaken together. The ship's engines started to hum, a rhythmic vibration that echoed through the clearing. Mia took a step back, her hand slipping from Anderson's. The finality of the gesture left an indelible mark on his soul. He tried to memorize every detail of her face, her luminescence, the enigmatic aura that had drawn him into her world. As Mia ascended the ramp towards the interior of the ship, Anderson felt a mix of pride and sorrow. Their eyes met one last time, and in that silent exchange of gazes, they both knew that the universe had forever been altered by their encounter. The rescue ship's doors began to close, sealing Mia and her kin within. Anderson stood motionless, watching as the vessel prepared for departure. His heart ached with the reality of the farewell but was also emboldened by the knowledge that his life's purpose had forever changed. The ship rose slowly, lifting above the treetops, its hum transforming into a powerful, resonant pulse. The dawn's first light glinted off its surface, casting ethereal reflections. Anderson stood rooted, his gaze following the ship as it ascended higher and higher, until it became a distant speck in the morning sky. The forest around him returned to its tranquil state. Anderson Thornton watched the glimmering trail of the alien rescue ship as it disappeared into the vast expanse of the cosmos, its glow dwindling until it vanished into the star-studded sky. Profoundly transformed by his interstellar encounter with Mia, he knew his life could never return to the tranquil but unfulfilling existence he once led in Crescent Bay. Having experienced the grandeur of an entirely different reality, the thought of remaining confined to the small town felt almost suffocating. Under the bright moonlight reflecting off his old workshop, Anderson felt a newfound sense of purpose welling within him. The memory of the enigmatic glow from Mia's skin was still vivid in his mind, serving as both a reminder and a catalyst for his forthcoming ventures. The mechanic had always harbored a latent yearning for exploration, but now that desire had crystallized into an undeniable urge. It was no longer just a fleeting fantasy, it was a calling. Determined to embark on a journey much larger than he ever dared to dream, Anderson began to prepare for his departure from Crescent Bay. He perused through his workshop, selecting a few essential tools that had proved invaluable during his time fixing both cars and alien spacecraft. Each item he picked up seemed to resonate deeply, as if now endowed with the shared memories of his unexpected yet transformative adventure. The wrench that had mended Mia's vessel, the screwdriver that had delicately worked on the intricate alien interfaces, all were symbols of his leap into the unknown. Word had already spread throughout the town about Anderson's encounter with the alien visitor. Shrouded in mystery, his story ignited the imaginations of his neighbors, who alternately viewed him as a hero, a lunatic, or a visionary. Despite the mixed reactions, he was resolute in his decision to leave. Crescent Bay had become too small a place for the dreams that now consumed his waking hours. Packing his old, weathered backpack, Anderson added a few mementos from his home, a photograph of his late parents, a pendant his mother had given him, and a worn-out copy of The Cosmic Ocean, a book that had been his guiding light through many a quiet night. Now, it seemed prophetic, as though it had always nudged him toward the path he was about to embark upon. Before leaving, Anderson sought out those who had meant the most to him in Crescent Bay. Mrs. Higgins, the kindly widow who lived next door, received a long, heartfelt hug. For Deputy Cole, the town's law enforcer and Anderson's fishing buddy, a firm handshake and a promise to return with stories from his travels. They stood at the edge of the town as Anderson took one last look at the place he had called home for so many years. The nostalgic aura weighed heavily on his heart, yet he was infused with an intoxicating thrill. The world, and perhaps the universe, stretched infinitely before him, teeming with mysteries waiting to be uncovered. As he set off down the road leading out of Crescent Bay, Anderson felt that he was not leaving something behind but rather moving towards something greater. Every step he took seemed to reverberate with the boundless possibilities that awaited him. His mind raced with thoughts of undiscovered worlds, advanced civilizations, spectral phenomena, and endless horizons lit by unknown suns. The road under his feet was just the beginning, a mere thread in the vast tapestry of the cosmos. His journey took him through bustling cities and quaint villages, across deserts and forests, but no place seemed to offer the fulfillment he sought. He spent countless nights under open skies, the stars serving as both a map and a muse. Each constellation seemed to whisper secrets of faraway worlds, urging him onward. The constant murmur of the universe in the vast silence of the night filled him with an exhilarating sense of being part of a grander scheme. Anderson's travels were punctuated by encounters with remarkable individuals, scientists, dreamers, wanderers, each adding a new dimension to his understanding of life and the cosmos. These passages of camaraderie and brief alliances only served to fuel his drive further. Through them, he realized that life's true essence lay in the journey rather than the destination. His path eventually led him to advanced research facilities and secretive government agencies, where whispered legends of extraterrestrial encounters were often met with skepticism. Nonetheless, Anderson's earnestness and clear-eyed conviction began to draw the attention of like-minded explorers. He found himself part of clandestine groups dedicated to the search for extraterrestrial intelligence and celestial phenomena. His mechanical prowess became invaluable, allowing him to contribute meaningfully to their endeavors. Among his newfound companions, Anderson felt a renewed sense of belonging. Together, They delved into ancient texts, probed the depths of space with state-of-the-art telescopes, and developed new technologies inspired by Anderson's descriptions of Mia's spaceship. Yet, despite the progress and the camaraderie, Anderson's heart remained untethered, ever seeking, ever yearning. Years passed, and Anderson's hair turned speckled with gray, yet his spirit remained youthful, driven by the unquenchable thirst for discovery. One fateful evening, under the shimmering auroras of a remote northern sky, Anderson received a signal that seemed all too familiar. The pattern of the transmission bore a striking resemblance to the one he had seen on Mia's damaged communicator years ago. His heart raced as he decoded the message, and a wave of emotions washed over him. Could it be? Was it Mia reaching out across the winds of space and time? The thought alone was electrifying. Gathering his team, Anderson set out to locate the source of the signal. They trekked through icy landscapes, braved fierce blizzards, and navigated through treacherous terrains. The journey was arduous, but Anderson's determination was unwavering. The closer they got, the stronger the signal became, until, at last, they stood before remnants of what seemed to be another crescent-shaped spacecraft, partially buried under the ice. The sight was both surreal and familiar. Anderson approached the vessel with a reverence bordering on awe. Years had passed since that night in Crescent Bay, yet it felt as though no time had elapsed at all. Working with a surgeon's precision, Anderson and his team began to excavate and study the alien craft. His heart pounded as they activated the ship's communicative device, and once again, the luminescent interface sprang to life. The vessel's communication system projected a holographic message. As the ethereal form began to take shape, Anderson's breath caught in his throat. It was Mia, or at least, a projection of her. The image conveyed a message laden with urgency yet tempered with hope. It seemed that Mia had left this echo, a beacon for Anderson to follow, suggesting that their paths were destined to intertwine again. The discovery was a watershed moment, not just for Anderson but for his entire team. It validated their years of research, their endless nights of speculation, and their unwavering belief in the cosmic interconnectedness of all beings. If you liked this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.